Morning everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and you're seeing me at a slightly different angle because for some reason my camera decided not to take a charge last night. Undoubtedly it was user error, I did something wrong. It's normally the way, but it's much easier to blame the camera, isn't it? Yeah, I'm human. So this is my cell phone, and luckily one of the things I always insist on my cell phones is they have a pretty good picture, just in case I need to do this. So hopefully this will work out. And of course I'm praying that the cell has got enough oomph in it to be able to make it. So I think being human, and it's probably not a bad subject today. First of all, what happened to my alarm clock? Does anybody know? For some reason, well actually, now that I think about it, my alarm clock was going for quite a while apparently, and I didn't hear it at all because it's my cell phone. And do you understand, in my brain, if you heard the sort of slight hesitation there, I just linked the two. Let's hope that we have enough battery. If not, we'll make plan B. And plan B is right here next to me, which is what you just, I've got a Bluetooth here. And if necessary, I will plug in to my Bluetooth cord and keep the battery going. All things are possible. Yeah, so I didn't wake up until the time that I normally would be leaving the kitchen, having made my lunch and everything, and well into my cup of coffee. That didn't happen. Yeah, so I woke up about the time I'd normally be leaving the kitchen, so I'm, a few interesting words, not very nice. And then I just said, okay, fine, it's going to be what it's going to be, and I'm just going to take it as it comes. And I didn't rush as much as I didn't waste any time. Now, I wonder if you know what I mean by that. I didn't allow myself to get distracted with anything. I just kept saying, move on, move on, move on, move on. But I wasn't really what I call rushing. I wasn't in a panic inside my body. I was just literally not wasting any time. And the funny thing is, I managed to leave almost the same time. Not quite, but almost. So I'm not going to be late enough that they're going to wonder whether I'm coming in or something. It should be good. So being human is something that I think we all need to come to grips with. I think it's what midlife crisis and all those sort of things are all attached to. We live in this when we're in our excuse me, when we're in our 20s and 30s, we're pretty on a path to what we want to do and so forth. And then when you get to your 40s, you're beginning to think, I'm halfway through my life and I haven't done what I wanted to do, and I might not have time to do it. Now that's a pretty difficult sort of scenario. And so I think that's why so many people have difficulty in their 40s and sometimes in their 50s. It's just, realizing that they're just human. And not everybody was born to be a rocket scientist, and not everybody was born to be the Beatles, for example. Excuse me, I've got an itch. So when you look at it, it can be very difficult to just realize you are who you are. And finding out who you are is one of the most difficult things of all. I'm just looking at a brand new traffic light. It's obviously not working yet, but it's such a fancy looking light. Wow. So I want. Wow. I've really got a problem with my throat today. And it's not sore. It's just doesn't want to work very well. Interesting. So being human, as I said, is a difficult thing to come to grips with. So I wanted to talk to those of you who maybe have been through that and come out the other side. And maybe we can give some help to those viewers who are presently... Washer fluid is low. Which when you live in southern British Columbia is probably not a good idea because we have a lot of rain. So those of you who've been through this sort of time and survived it, I was wondering whether we have any sort of words of wisdom to share with the younger viewers who are likely to go through this. Now, my personal input on this one was I did absolutely fine until I got really sick. And when I got really sick, it depleted a lot of my self-confidence. And one of the things that happened to me, and I think I've spoken about this before, is I ran out of adrenaline. And I didn't know that was possible, but apparently it is. And now what little adrenaline I have gets depleted pretty quickly. So if I get, for example, if I go down to do something like, I really got in the wrong lane here. Oops, that would not be a good idea. If I do something like VidCon or Vlog Affair or something like that, I expend a lot of energy, and it is difficult for me because it takes me a long time to recoup that level of energy. And you've probably noticed it. I'm fine when I'm there, but as soon as I get home, then it's like somebody's taken the plug out of my bottom of my feet, and all my energy went with it. And it makes me very vulnerable to getting sick and doing stuff like that. I was really very pleased with what I did with myself at Vlog Affair, because I would do some, and then I would make sure that I took a break and just took it easy for a while, and then I do some more, and then I take it easy for a while. So it worked really, really well. So being human is really about knowing yourself and your abilities, I think I'd have to say. And our abilities are not necessarily what they thought they were when we were younger. And our abilities at 40 are not the same as our abilities at 20 or 30. So I think getting to grips with that and understanding that's very, very important. What I also know is, for those of you who are younger, that it is, I think, a wonderful time. If I could choose to go back, I'd go back and relive my 20s and 30s with today's knowledge. I would love to have known what I know now to help me through my 20s and 30s. So that's a point that I wanted to make for those who might be new viewers. One of the things that we really do try to do is make sure that we give you somewhere to talk about these things if you choose to. So if you haven't ever joined a broadcast, we do encourage you to join one, maybe this weekend. We do 2 on Fridays, one on Sundays. And if you've come because of the vlogs, just let us know that, then we know. Then we know that you're not a troll. So when you come in, just say hi. I'm a new broadcast viewer and I've come from the vlogs. So, and I probably will ask, because I normally do ask new people in the room where they're from. And it doesn't just mean Oklahoma. I was thinking about my viewers in Oz and New Zealand, because we very rarely give them a big shout out, and I'd like to, because obviously one of our favorite viewers of all time comes from Oz, in fact, and I'm thinking that we have a number that are very dear to us. And so for all of you who are in that area, I do appreciate it. And Ash, I believe that you're from there as well. I really do appreciate the fact that you guys tune in. And I am thinking of you. I was thinking this morning, actually, as I was doing the temperature gauge thing, and I'm thinking, if I were in Australia now, I'd be just about starting spring. Yeah, that would be nice. With another summer ahead of me, which makes me wonder why I live in this climate. I think in a way my body was best suited to the hot climates. And I wonder how many of you don't necessarily live in the climate that your body is best suited for. For example, how many of you really don't do the cold well and live in the cold areas, and how many of you really don't do the heat well and live in hot areas? And the question would be, why do we do that? I mean, I know why I live in British Columbia, because I really do believe, with all due respect, I do believe that Canada has probably the greatest all-around living standard anywhere that I've seen in the world. And when I say living standard, the way that it looks after everybody, and the way that we get to live. It's also very expensive, mind you, and especially if you live in the major metropolitan areas. And there's a reason why it's very expensive. It's because a lot of people want to live there. Duh. So let me know how many of my human beings are actually being human in the wrong temperature for them. And to me, it's interesting as to how you ended up in that temperature and why you're still there. And I'm not saying it's wrong, because I believe, I really do believe, for example, I am a heat person living in a cooler climate, which is why I actually don't have a major problem when I go down to Florida or California or anything like that. To me, it's just like, oh yeah, that's warmer. I like that. And people have said to me, how many viewers have written to me and said, what do you mean you don't have air conditioning in your house? I don't. And you have to understand, I lived in Africa without air conditioning. Now, I must admit that in Africa, the houses are built of brick, which makes it much easier to live without air conditioning because it's actually insulated much better. But to me, there are very few days in British Columbia, in my view, that are intolerable in terms of the heat. And if it does get a little warm, toasty, then I will go and take a cold shower or a cool shower and bring my body temperature down. Now, one of the things I was thinking about was we really should have misters, M-I-S-T, misters above our beds, right? So that in the very hot weather, we could just have a spray of mist every minute or something. Imagine how that would cool down, and it wouldn't cause you to be hot. It would just literally keep you at a nice temperature. Maybe I should invent that. Now I'm noticing a change in the amount of daylight we have, and I wonder whether any of you are as well. So I intend to enjoy what evening light I have. I got out last night, by the way. Thank you very much for those encouragements, and thank you very much for telling me to go do what I was talking about doing. I actually did get off my fat behind yesterday and went and walked around the block. And because I did that, I managed to get above 8,000 steps for probably only the third time since I got my I'm a slog watch. And they do, what they say is 8,000 is what I should be doing every day. Now, I started at about 3, which was the thing that really shattered me. The one reason I would really recommend getting one of these watches is to find out what you do. Now, some of you are going to be surprised on the upside, and some of you, like myself, are going to be very surprised on the downside. I really had become very sedentary in my life. And the strange thing is, I would have thought that I moved around more at the weekends than I did during the week, and it's not true. I have a real problem getting my steps up to anything halfway near decent during the weekends. And so that's why now when I go shopping, for example, I make it an event. And when I say I make it an event, I make sure that I walk the whole store, every single aisle, even if I don't need anything in that aisle. I literally walk up and down every aisle to get the steps, as many steps in as I can. And the reason I like doing it in the grocery store is because normally that is pretty good temperature in there, regardless of, if it's raining outside, it's nice and dry. And if it is cold outside, it's normally nicely warm, not too warm, but nicely warm. And if it's hot outside, it's normally nicely cool. So it's a great place to go walking. The only thing is, be careful how much you buy, right, along the way. So it definitely, I use it as part of my exercise program. I now don't see shopping as, I've got to go shopping. I go, I've got to go to the gym. And bend and stretch and bend and stretch. By the way, very pleased to tell you about the the glasses that actually they do transition. That's what I was worried about yesterday, was do my glasses transition into sunglasses? And the answer is yes. I did notice by the time I got inside the office yesterday that they were still darker than they would normally be, while they were adjusting to the new light. So yes, they work. I still must say that I really, touch wood, I really do like them. They are so light and so easy to wear. And I like the way they sort of naturally cling to my head without feeling tight. It's just, I can lean down and they don't fall off. And although it took me a long time to get to them, like this is my third pair of glasses to try and get to a pair that works for me, I think I might have found one that really works for me. So, and in case anybody's wondering, I actually did get them through what used to be called Clearly Contacts. I don't know whether that's around the world or not, but it's an online thing. And just very happy. It really is startling to me, because to get glasses like this would have cost me $600 minimum, $650 plus the old-fashioned way, and it now costs me about $150, $200. Now that's got to be worth doing, even if it gets a bit frustrating every now and then when you get a pair. And I must admit, in 3 orders that I've had, I've only had 1 pair that really didn't work, and that was the last pair. And so I've been very, very happy, very happy every time. And I just picked a bad frame. And you know something? It's so that I don't think it's the company's fault. How do they know it's a bad frame unless they start trying to sell it and they have problems with it? Then they know. So I forgive myself for being human and for accidentally making a mistake, because that's part of life, and I would ask you all to do that. Forgive yourself today as well. All right, have a wonderful day being human. And it's Thursday, yay! And for those of you who don't know, Thursday is my Friday, because I don't work on Fridays. So I'm going to have a great day. And for those of you who are brand new, thank you for tuning in. Just know that we do these little wit and wisdom type talks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. And Fridays, I do 2 broadcasts. Saturdays, I take the day off from everything, or try to. And then Sunday, we do another broadcast. So basically, you've got 6 days a week. But I normally try and put some video up anyway about almost every single day. So, if you're new, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. And by the way, make sure you follow on Facebook and Twitter. And that would be at DearMamaSal. Actually, if you just type in at DearMamaSal in any browser, you'll get everything. Well, just about everything. And if you want all the times that we're broadcasting and everything, then go to DearMamaSal.com and just scroll down the right-hand side. There's a panel there that shows you where we'll be broadcasting and at what time. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.